Hello and welcome everyone to our new episode of our podcast AI in Action, the HR edition. I'm very excited to be here today again with Anastasia and our very special guest because we have a very unique topic today.
So today we're going to discuss a rapidly evolving workspace, and it's a unique blend of generational and cultural differences. Throw in AI here, and also you will get a rapidly evolving landscape. So today with us we have Chas Weerasinghe. Sorry, I really practiced and but now I think I nailed it. Cath Weerasinghe. He's a regional CFO based in Switzerland, working for a multinational company in Switzerland. Cath, would you like to introduce yourself to us briefly, and then we will dive into fascinating topic of finance, HR, and AI.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks both of you for having me. So my name is Cath, as Anastasia mentioned. I've been working for multinational organizations as regional CFO for the last 20 years or so. Since 2021, I'm living in beautiful Switzerland, based in Zug, working for a well-known multinational brand.
Nice, nice. Welcome.
That's fantastic. Welcome, Chet. It's really exciting to have you. And as I said in the beginning, this is a very specific and very unique topic. And I believe it's very interesting for our listeners to actually, understand those cultural differences and the impact on the generations. So please tell us a little bit more about what you actually think about this on your perspective. And then after we will move more around how AI might either help in this field or even affect it.
Yeah, I think AI has been there for 20 years. I think in finance industry itself, we have loads of automations through AI. We have certain tools for bank reconciliations, certain tools for accounts payables, receivable reconciliations, even balance sheet reconciliation. Quite detailed nitty-gritty of the details in the finance backend has been with AI for a long time. But over the last 3 years, it has expedited quite a lot, especially with the large language models coming into play. A lot of people are talking widely about it, openly about it, because knowledge has been commoditized through AI. Then you can use this tool to extract a lot of information out of it. And now we are using it for multiple different things like discounts and promotion tracking, to understand the financial statements, to elaborate and understand the competitive edge of different brands as well in certain levels, and also the pricing strategy and the pricing architecture wise, how it has impacted the brands as ours and also to other competitive brands. So we have looked into different aspects of it. I think from an AI point of view, we are quite in an infant stage. We are not running yet. We are trying to walk at the moment, but we have the right infrastructure need to be in place to begin with. And it's because it's such a young subject in terms of the LLMs, the talent out there is quite limited. So for us to get the right talent on board takes time, and to get the journey started also it gets a bit of time as well. So we are trying to get everything started before the train leaves the platform, so we can be on board on time. I hope
Do
that
you
helps.
feel like, Chaz, do you feel like people who you're hiring and people you work with in finance or HR, do they have a clear understanding of the whole spectrum of AI out there, or there is more education needed?
I think
What do you think the level is, the general
yeah,
level?
it's depend on the person that you would speak to. If you speak to a millennial or a Gen Z, you would understand because they are digital nomad. They're born to the world of internet and AI, so they understand a lot more. Different previous generation, you might not understand that you had the same expectation from them. At the same time, also even millennials or Gen Z, if you haven't educated yourself on that topic, you will not get that either as well. So I've seen the complexity there in both angles. But I always like to get people to know that explore the new technologies, explore the new knowledge, have a growth mindset, then you learn a lot more about these things. That's exactly what I see. And also, as an organization, we do have an opportunity to educate our workforce and get them to use the tool to solve the problems. As an example, if you have 1,000 employees in an organization, if you ask them to bring two solutions through AI, you will have 2,000 solutions overnight to solve your problems overnight, right? Because then it's up to the management to filter them and pick the top 20 and figure it out. So that's kind of things that organizations need to adapt and do.
Got you.
You are saying something very interesting here, Chat, speaking about educating the workforce and actually training it on AI, upskilling it, reskilling it, however we want to call it. So, obviously, from a finance point of view, there is a budget involved when it comes to those kind of trainings, right? And then on the other side, we have the HR department that is responsible for all the development initiatives for the employees. So usually the eyes are all at HR saying, oh, you need to take care of the training. You need to develop all the employees in this direction and take care of all the AI initiatives. But obviously, HR and finance need to work together in order to make it happen and to balance this. So, out of your experience and speaking about this educating piece, how do you see it? How much are organizations actually willing to invest? And how much are they, freeing up their budget for those training and education in comparison to we want all of this, but we are not willing to pay?
Yeah, it's a very good question, Magdalena, because I think some of the organizations are struggling to get the resources because of the budget constraints, obviously, and some of them are some of them on the journey far ahead, some of them are just starting the journey. So I think hence why it's very important to have these discussions, not just at the functional levels, finance, HR, or anywhere else, but also at the
Absolutely.
board level. HR need to sit at the board level. Okay?
Yeah.
As HR need to have a voice at the board level because they are the function that build talents for the organization. So they need to have a say on it, and board need to support that. The C-suite need to support that. And this is not a technology. This is not a topic that you can wait for next another 12 months to allocate a budget because the train has already started leaving the platform. You need to get on it as quickly as possible because otherwise you will lose the train. Once you miss the train, it's really hard to get back track on it because then you lose the competitive advantage. You will even start losing talent for organizations that we already had started the journey through AI and start automating things. And back in the day when I learning my ABC in accounting, everything is paper form. You had to write your journals manually by hand on a piece of paper, book into the systems. Now everything comes through systems. But imagine AI doing like taking even that 50% of the job away in the next 12 months. And we need to train our staff to get onto that. So I think these days it's not a difficult conversation to have with the board to get extra money allocated for these projects. It's about having the right people, having the right conversation, and like I mentioned earlier, having a seat for HR in the board for during these discussions. It's really helpful to make organizations to make these decisions and move forward. Otherwise, if you don't transform yourself, everybody else is transforming into the new journey, so it's gonna fall into your back foot quite easily, quite quickly.
That's so true. And I think many organizations are, as you say, they are struggling and sometimes they are not putting it as a priority. But for example, what Anastasia and I have seen when we were speaking to clients is that a few months ago, let's say like 6 to 7 months ago, they would say, oh, we don't have time, let's do it later. And now they are coming back in terms for training, asking for, oh, when can we do this? Or when can we implement this? And then we tend to say, remember when you said later? So obviously those things need time. And it's not only about let's implement this solution and let's have this automation up and running, but the people need to understand how it works.
Yeah, exactly.
So organizations tend to underestimate the time that you need to invest in the people in order to understand all of those new processes, as you said. So we are really moving from this paperwork to completely paperless. And
Yeah.
it's not only about this, there is obviously much more to it.
Yeah, of course, because was one last point on this one, I think, because we also need to start understanding what's the problem that we're trying to solve through AI.
Yeah.
If we can't solve everything through AI, we have to have people behind it, we need to have the processes behind it, we need to have educated platforms behind it. I think that's quite important as well.
Yeah, to me, seems also like the decision makers need to have understanding of the options out there as well. So as when we train professionals, first of all, we see that the first problem we are solving is to actually show what's out there, because there are so many solutions, and every time there is a new solution coming up, and for every problem there are 50 solutions as well. Like you have different CRMs, you have different recruitment system, different onboarding system. So it's not only the choice, but also the choice of providers. Even if you know that you need an onboarding system and AI can help you, who do you choose? How do you make the best and the best solution that is also gives you return on investment? do you feel like there is readiness within organiz, or maybe not readiness, the knowledge, that knowledge within the organizations of all the options out there?
Yeah, I think that's a very good question again, because it's a challenge that every organization faces, including my very own. So I think when you go for a certain, when you identify the problem that you want to solve, then you go to the market to find the AI-based solution or whatever the solution that you want. You got like multiple different service providers to fix the same problem, but then you want to try to find the right service provider fit your own problems, and also not just the current problems, to looking at what the future problems could be, and they have the scalability and ability to transform to those problems as well. You need to look at, because once you install a system, once you install a platform, you can't just take it off, unplug it within 12 months, because there's a huge investment coming into play. So I think what's important is to ask in the right questions, and also getting them to a trial period to run the system, and also perhaps to give them explain them your problems, and ask them to show you a proof of concept that it is actually working. And that really helps to make the decision making point of view. Then afterwards it's a negotiation in terms of pricing and all of that, and the contractual period, etc. But I think basic need to get right. First, as an organization, you would need to understand what's the problem that you're trying to solve, and what are the services out there. And from the services out there, select a couple of limited samples, which is a problem, and then to get them to solve your concept as a proof of concept, and then try to implement that solution across the organization. And also, change management is not easy; it's hard. You need to get your team behind you as well.
Yeah.
That's going to take some time too.
That's talking about pilot projects, right? So usually we also advise organizations not to jump into everything and do everything at the same time, but really, as you say, find one concrete case, like one use case, one problem you want to solve, and then let's work around this one to see how it can actually solve your problem in terms of, speaking about AI. So either it's a provider, a service tool, or maybe there is a custom solution needed.
Yeah.
It always depends on the case.
Yeah.
I mean, if we speak about custom solution, then we are obviously going much higher into the budget, which is true. But I think especially for larger organizations, it makes sense because they have very unique workflows, for example.
Yeah.
It can even make sense for smaller organizations. This really always depends.
Yeah.
But coming back to the generational differences and cultural differences and all of this, Chad, what do you think? How can the workforce, not looking at HR, finance, C-level, whatever, between themselves? So how can they actually benefit from, educating each other?
Yeah.
How? Yeah.
I think it's a very good question again, because I've seen this. I've worked across multiple regions in Asia to Europe and North America. So I've seen this cultural complexity coming across all the time.
Fantastic.
And the best way to look at it is basically, if you look at an orchestra, you don't have a single instrumental player in the whole orchestra, right? You have multiple different instrumental players. That's how the great music is created. That's what we enjoy. Team is exactly like that. If you have if you have everybody who's good at one thing and we put it together, it will not become a team. We need to have multiple different skills from different people coming in and try to achieve the organizational goals and objectives. That is exactly what we should be looking for in a team. That's also replicate or resonates with the cultural and the generational impact as well. Because there are Gen X, there's millennials, there's Gen Zs, and also baby boomers with multiple different experiences. Because Gen Zs has very little idea about what's going on, what has been going on in the 70s and the 80s, but whereas the Gen X and the millennials, they have a better idea. So you can combine these experiences and start creating the solutions for the business. I think this is where HR will come into play and educate about these things, and actually create an awareness that everybody needs to work together to achieve the common goals and objectives. Without that, it's going to get really hard. And if you really see a board, like a proper board in an organization, you will see people with 30, 40 years of experience. And they're advising the CEOs at that, advising the C-suite. They are there for a reason, because they have so much experience. They have seen the world more than anybody else has in that organization, because there's more senior people who can direct, who would know what direction to take, and who would know what possible outcomes with that direction could bring into the organization. So this is not the conversation that will go away, but it will remain in the organization. I think we need to adapt to that, and we need to work with the organization through HR, through finance, to train the organization, train the workforce, to use them as a tool. cross learn from each other cross functionally.
Yeah. Chas, I have a bit of a technical question to make a use of a finance guy sitting here. So a lot of systems, a lot of HR systems are based on finance systems. So and those finance systems are quite I wouldn't say old, but they're quite traditional. So most of us rely either on Oracle or SAP, and these systems have been created long time ago, and also took ages to implement them. I can imagine. So, what about when we talk about AI? How does it connect? Because obviously, it's when you bring new AI solution, it's not just like okay, this is it. We plug it and play it, right? It has to connect to the data of the organization somehow on the back end. So, I'm not a very technical person, but I heard from several professionals this could be an issue sometimes. Can you comment on this, or do you have any experience with that?
Yeah, actually, recently I was speaking with one of my good old friends who's based in Tel Aviv. They're going through a HRIS migration. They were asking me about the experience that I have and what about the new solutions coming into play. So I think even though there are a huge amount of HRIS solutions out there, from Workday to SAP to Microsoft, different platforms, there are enormous amount of platforms, very expensive ones as well. I think what we are trying to do is every organization is quite different. If you look at a multinational like ourselves or multinationals anywhere in the world, you have working in multiple different countries. The human
Yeah.
legislations are quite different. The languages are quite different. Labor laws are quite different. So it's quite a complex thing for one system to handle. I think what I would advise all the companies is basically look at a master platform. It could be Workday, it could be SAP, it could be anything like a master platform. Then you need to have multiple microsystems enabled to it to do the rest of the work. As an example, the shift in a retail organization, you need to work on shifts. Sometimes there is special stores, you
Yeah.
have shift patterns. So imagine having one system doing shift patterns for 10, 12, 15, 20 countries. Because the labor laws are different in the Netherlands, labor laws are different in the UK, labor laws are different in Switzerland. So you can't customize the system to such an extensive level without going to the core architecture of the system. That is going to be extremely expensive. But if we have a centralized HR solution, HRIS, and having microsystem plugged into, as an example, shift and the holiday management, and then the performance management, the different tool, that really encourages team to use those systems quite well. And also, when it comes to decision making, you need to have especially the right people in the table making that decision, not just the senior level people, because obviously people at the store level, people at the head office level, people at the functions having a say, not somebody to just say, okay, this is great, this is not bad, but also having an opinion about it and explaining what are the outcomes, how the system is going to be user friendly, how it's going to make their lives difficult, etc. need to be discussed. I've seen it many times across my life that even because tax office will change the laws, every budget and these HR laws could change, but the systems would not change as quickly as that. So once you install it, that's going to become a challenge. So I think this is why one system is really hard to solve the problem. Having microsystems helping. When I say microsystem, I'm not talking about 10, 15 different microsystems. I think maximum of 3 to 4 microsystems with a core system is going to help solve the problems.
Got you.
This is, yeah, sorry.
Yeah, no worries. We always do that. So we because we're so excited about the topic. I've seen this indeed in organizations that I've been working for, where the decision is taken on a high level, but then the implementers haven't been consulted, right? And then when it comes to implementation, then you uncover, oh, this can't be done, that can't be done. This is needs to be customized all of a sudden because the experts who either people who are going to implement the system or who are going to use the system were not there. So that's why I thought it would be very interesting to discuss that.
And that's exactly the point where AI is actually helping because now you don't even need the initial implementer anymore. You can have a conversation with your AI in order to solve the problem. And if we're even thinking a little bit further, speaking about AI agents, so not only about tools or generative AI, but really about agents that can do their own decisions, working between tools and working between countries, even. As you said, Chet, speaking about different labor laws or speaking about moving people around. So someone wants to relocate, for example, but we have the different labor laws. Let the agents take care. The AI agents can take care of the whole process, having the data from different countries, different laws in different languages in real time.
Yeah.
And they can take care of all of this. So imagine how much time this is actually going to free up and how much, less headache all of the HR leaders, finance leaders, and everyone else in the company will have.
Yeah.
So this is it's just amazing what actually can be done.
No, exactly. I think the opportunities are huge, and this is just the beginning of the journey. I think I'm really excited to see. It's only been 3 years, right, since the LLM
Yeah.
play. Imagine another 3 years time. It's like the internet started in 1980s, and now all of a sudden we do everything without we can't live without it, right? So I think we are coming to that level very soon. It
Yeah.
won't take 40 years or 30 years like the internet took to kick off, but I'm sure this is much faster, and it changes every day. So if you're not up to speed with that, if you're not bringing yourself up to speed on every single day, I encourage in my team everybody to spend at least 15 minutes on AI because per day. Then you learn something new. It's not just about having a conversation with the tool, but also like learning something new. It's really bringing it to another level. It'll give you a complete advantage to anybody else.
It's fantastic that you are saying this, Chet, that you are encouraging your team. I think this is really, really important. And you being in a leading position, I think this should also be a message to all the other leaders out there, either finance leaders, HR leaders, whatever practice you are in or function, being in a leading function, encouraging your people to take the time to really learn about AI and upskill on AI, not only if it comes to corporate trainings, but really by yourself.
Yeah.
This is so impressive. And I think many, many more leaders should actually do this.
No,
I really like
absolutely.
it.
I agree because it has to be responsible use of AI because you
Yes.
can't just simply upload confidential documents to AI tool at all, but it has to be responsible area. That's why HR, finance, legal, everybody has have a job to do to train people because either we train them not to do what to do the right thing the right way, or they will go and do their own thing, and then we'll end up in a problem in a couple of years' time. So we rather avoid that, and get them trained now and how to use AI responsibly, and help solve the organization's problems. I think it's an efficient use of the resources available within the organization because it's a new tool. Everybody likes to use new tool. Give them the option, give them the solutions as well.
Yeah, I can imagine. Yeah, it's interesting what you say about using AI outside work, because I can imagine there are a lot of people out there writing emails, with company name using AI, or ask summarize me this document or create me this document. So actually, talking about the securities and privacy, probably it's not there as much. It's just some people probably wouldn't say so. Education is number one, and also to eliminate fear. We spoke on a previous podcast with one of our speakers. We spoke about the fear in HR in particular, of all these options out there and feeling a little bit inadequate, not understanding, because we have generational differences in HR. For example, we have a lot of people in their 50s and sometimes in their 60s, and they do not feel as comfortable, but they are in the decision making position. Do you feel something like this as well in your environment, that there is a little bit of fear of AI and hence not the adoption doesn't go as fast, or learning about it?
Yeah, fear is everywhere. I think it doesn't matter whether it's AI or any other transformation project or change management project. Fear comes. It's natural for humans to be fear about something new. I think as leaders, as the change management agents, I think we have a responsibility to communicate that constantly to the team, the benefit that could bring. Now, as an example, if I speak to my father, who used to be a banker at the time, and he's scared of AI. He's like, I don't want to use this tool, and I guess all the knowledge that I learned for 50 years is in my head. How can a tool replace my knowledge, and I become not valuable anymore? I think that's not the solution. I think if we use the generation to help them to learn how to use the tool, and the benefit that he has is amazing, because as humans we have limited amount of brain power that we can use, but AI is unlimited. At least it's more than what we can use. So you
Yeah, we
can
have 5%. We use 5% to be precise.
exactly. So you can see that how the in the education industry is changing now. PhDs, graduates, they are questioning themselves. They acquire loads of knowledge, and all of a sudden the knowledge has become commodified through AI, through LLMs. That has become a competitive edge for AI over the humans who are graduating from different universities. At the same time, which also I think Microsoft Satya Nadella says a really nice way. Humans will not be replaced through AI, at least in this generation. I think best way to look at it is you are the pilot,
Yes.
but
Yeah.
choose your co-pilot as the AI, and AI uses as a tool, not as a as a complementing to your knowledge, your experience, what you're trying to do, rather than you're getting AI to do every single thing. You are just sitting back. I think that's the wrong way to approach AI. I think
Yeah.
Satya Nadella is a really nice way that that's why they branded co-pilot and their tool as co-pilot, because it's a
Co-pilot, true, yes.
pilot. Yeah.
Yeah. Batman and Robin, right? So AI is your sidekick.
That's a good comparison.
I think it's
And
a
I
good
think this is
message to our listeners.
totally, this is a very, very valid point. I think people used to get this misconception of AI to think, oh, it's going to do everything in my job. No, it's not. And it can never replace something like empathy, like, the feeling that you have in your gut, for example, or any type of human connection. And there is so much more to work and professional life than just finishing tasks. We all know that actually being connected with someone and speaking about networking, etc., it has so much more value than just simply letting a machine do something. And we hear it so often, speaking about the fear, we hear it so often. Oh, is AI going to replace my job? Oh, I'm going to be without a job in the future. You will not. But if you are not willing to learn and educate yourself, then someone else will take your place that is actually educated on those topics.
Yeah.
And this is really the mind shift that people need to understand. I mean, also speaking about certain roles, looking at, for example, customer service, let's not, be too optimistic. I think many jobs will be replaced. Yes.
Yeah.
But on the other side, you can still the AI has opened up so many new job positions. You can
Yeah.
decide to reskill yourself
Yeah.
and then go to another part, right? So I think this is something that people really need to understand.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's a good point that you're raising there, Magnula, because when the internet waves came into play and everybody is opening online stores, and we thought high street is
Yes,
going to be closed. But yes, it's a season, and yes, high street was
exactly.
having a hard time, but they came with a lot of experiences and different ways of attracting consumers to the stores. And as millennials, we were shopping quite a lot online. When it's come to Gen Zs, they were shopping a lot of online as well. But our kids, they don't want to shop online. They want to go to the store and experience things. And
Yes.
that's the shift that's happening right now. So because my daughter, she doesn't want to shop online. She wants to go to the store. She wants to touch the products and she wants to buy it from there rather than shopping online. And this is
Of
this is a
course.
curve that's happening. And
Yeah.
it's gonna replicate across our lives. I think if you get scared about that and if you don't use it, I think we are missing out quite a lot.
It's true. It's very interesting. I see the shift as well in trainings, right? So a lot of people like there is a lot of online, but then people are so tired of online because it's normal now. So people actually want to meet in person. So the shift is it's just you when we have enough of something, like too much of something, then we start shifting. It's interesting what you mentioned about the daughter. I have exactly the same. Like because they grow up with with phone, it's no longer special, but going to the store is actually special.
Special for them, exactly.
That's fantastic. Okay, so maybe one more question, Chat, to your side before we actually close the podcast. I wanted to ask you to basically think ahead, looking at the future. So, how do you think AI will shape the intersection of finance and HR, managing diverse teams?
Yeah, I think it's a very good question. At the same time, very complex question as well. I think with the age of internet and a lot of the things, world has become a very small space. And what it means is basically it has become a very complicated place because there are so many different things, important things that really people are is complex for each other, because how we grew up, which culture that we grew up, which language we are going to speak, and everything has become complex. I think AI is going to transform that, and take that barrier away. Especially if you're traveling somewhere now, as an example, to going to Japan, you don't need to speak Japanese to go to Japan now. Obviously, people speak Japanese there, English there as well. At the same time, you can use the tool to translate the complex things that you want to do and help with let's say, someone locally to get your things done. And when it's come to finance and HR, yeah, this is why I said earlier that HR needs to have a seat at the board level now, more than
Yeah.
ever. That HR need to be in the driving seat, transforming this function to the future, because people are changing, the generations are retiring. Gen boomers are retiring, Gen X will retire soon, then the millennials and the Gen Z will be left, and then when the next generation comes in, loads of things have changed. I think this is going to be extremely hard to um, visualize now, and put right solutions in place now. I think it's not about putting the right solution in place for the next 5 years time. It's about putting the right solution and the sound foundation in place for the next 2 to 3 years, so people can be working very well together in the 5 years or 6 years ahead of us right now. Because if you don't get people to use AI, if you don't get used to people have people to use different tools that are available right now, and they will be left out in 5 years time, and organizations will be in the back foot as well. That's kind of the complex problem that we have to solve. And mind you that now at the moment, it's only the private organizations are doing all these solutions, and the government are reluctant to put barriers, if not the legislation in place, because they once the legislation put in place, the development will slow down. It will not grow. So that's why the governments are reluctant to put the legislation just yet, because they want to see what this is going to grow, and then they will put
Yeah.
the legislation in place. So this is the right opportunity for us to, before that all coming into play, have the right foundation have the right people in the organization, have from the top to level to the bottom of the organization, use the tools that we have and educated our children. And we need to we can learn a lot from our own kids, how they use the tools to have an impact on the organization as well. This is where we need to learn quite a lot and cross pollinate and adapt the knowledge. There are loads of tribal knowledge that has had in the past, and it's not tribal knowledge anymore. We can use large language models to learn about this now, and then use the tools that we have today, and prepare for the future. It's not tomorrow. It's yesterday actually. Future is yesterday.
Oh, yes. I couldn't agree more. Wow. Chad, thank you so much. I mean, I don't even know what to say to this. There is nothing I could add. This is just, it's fantastic. You are absolutely right with everything that you say. And I'm so happy about the facts that you are mentioning, that first HR needs a seat at the C level, definitely, that the leaders need to be in the driving seat, that we need to educate the workforce, and that we need to start now. I think this is absolutely true.
Yeah, I agree. Thank you
Good
so
stuff.
much for the opportunity, and it's really a pleasure meeting with you as well. I look forward to future interactions. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Cath. Thank you very much.
Thank you,
Thank you.
everyone. See
Bye.
you next time. Bye bye.
Bye.
Bye.